Okay, so something really big is happening in Thailand when it comes to corporate reporting. We're talking about a huge leap forward in transparency, basically adopting a whole new global language for sustainability. Today, we're going to break down exactly what this means for businesses, for investors, and, yeah, for the future of the entire Thai market.
Right at the heart of this change, you've got Thailand's Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. They're making a major move to align the whole country with brand new standards from the International Sustainability Standards Board, or ISSB. This is a massive step towards playing on the global field.
All right, let's dive into Thailand's green reporting shift. To really get what's going on, we first have to understand what these new standards are all about.
So we're talking about two key standards here, IFRS S1 and S2. The easiest way to think of them is as a new global baseline. S1 covers all the sustainability-related financial info, while S2 zooms in specifically on climate. The whole point is to create one consistent, comparable way for businesses everywhere to talk about their impact.
And really, this is the bottom line. Thailand's SEC has laid out a roadmap to make these global standards the new law of the land locally. It's all about cranking up the transparency and giving investors that high-quality info they're demanding to make smarter decisions.
Okay, so this naturally leads to the big question for any business leader out there. Does this actually apply to my company? Well, let's take a look at who's going to be required to report.
And what's really interesting here is just how wide they're casting the net. I mean, we are not just talking about the big players on the stock exchange of Thailand. No, this also applies to companies on the MAI exchange, a whole bunch of investment vehicles like REITs and infrastructure funds, and get this, even companies just planning an IPO.
And here's a crucial detail. This isn't just about individual little subsidiaries. The reporting requirement applies at the consolidated entity level. That means the parent company is on the hook for disclosing this information for the entire group.
Now, a shift this massive isn't going to happen overnight. Of course not. The SEC has proposed a really careful phased-in timeline to give companies plenty of time to adapt.
You can really see that phased approach here. It kicks off in 2027 with the 50 biggest companies on the stock exchange, the Set 50. Then a year later, it expands to the Set 100, then all the other listed companies, and finally, by 2031, it'll include those MAI-listed firms and all the investment funds. A slow and steady rollout.
Now, to make this whole transition as smooth as possible, the plan includes what they're calling a climate-first approach, plus some really important transition reliefs. Let's break down how that's actually going to work.
So for the first 5 years, companies get to really focus their energy. They'll only need to disclose climate-related information, which falls under that IFRS S2 standard. But after that initial period, the requirement expands to cover everything, all sustainability topics under both S1 and S2.
The plan also recognizes that, look, this is a heavy lift for a lot of companies. So to kind of ease that burden, the SEC has proposed some temporary reliefs, basically giving companies some breathing room while they get their reporting systems up to speed.
And these reliefs, they're pretty significant. For the first 5 years, companies can report their sustainability data at a different time than their main financial statements. They also get a pass on reporting Scope 3 greenhouse gas emissions, which, trust me, are often the most complex and tricky ones to track. And finally, they'll have the flexibility to just keep using their existing methods for measuring greenhouse gases for a while.
And just a couple of other really critical points here. This information isn't going to be buried in some side report nobody reads. No, it has to be part of the main annual filing, the 56-1 report. And to make sure it's reliable, the greenhouse gas emission data will need what's called limited assurance, meaning a third party has to come in and verify it. So, after all those details, what's the big picture here? Why is Thailand actually doing this, and what does it really mean for business on the ground? Well, the answer is pretty simple. It's for the market. The main audience for all this new data is investors, lenders, and other creditors. They're the ones demanding clearer, more standardized information so they can properly assess risks and opportunities when they decide where to park their money.
This quote from the SEC itself really nails their strategy. It's a balancing act, right? They're aiming for full alignment with the best global standards out there, but they're also providing reliefs that are custom fit to the specific context and readiness of businesses in Thailand.
You know, at the end of the day, this is so much more than just a new set of rules. For Thai companies, this is a strategic move. It's designed to boost transparency, attract that all-important international capital, and really elevate their position on the global stage. Getting this right means you're speaking the same language as global investors.
So this roadmap, it clearly lays out the what, the who, and the when of this whole transformation. But it leaves us with one final, really crucial question. With a path now laid out, how ready are Thai businesses to actually embrace this new era of transparency and meet the demands of a rapidly changing world? The answer to that is going to shape the next decade of business in Thailand.